It's
I don't know.
Shoemaker.
How do
You make shoes, you don't mock shoes unless they're Crocs. The holes are so your self-esteem can slip out. That's the secret to Crocs. I have 5 pair because I don't even care anymore. You're lucky I'm wearing pants right now.
Is it because all your self-esteem is completely gone, or is it slowly slipping through every time you wear them?
I've slipped through so much that I'm just left with me now. Just left with organic, genuine me, and I like it like this. I don't have pretensions now.
Maybe it's the ego that's slipping through, and the healthy self-esteem.
I have an acronym for ego: evading growth opportunity. You know, we've all heard edging God out, but it's also evading growth opportunity. Every time I lead with my ego or try to look a certain way, be a certain way because I care how you feel about me and I want approval, I'm out. I'm not myself, and so I'm evading my own opportunity to go, okay, let's pause on this, have a sacred pause on this one, let's reflect, and now take the actions. So that's how I operate.
This is Rooted Recovery Stories. My name is Patrick Custer. I'm your host, and so glad to be here today with my new friend, actor, comedian, writer, producer, about 18 other things.
For a second, I thought you forgot my name. That's why you went to the credits.
I absolutely did not forget.
We're with my friend, actor, producer.
It's Bob, right?
Yeah, Bob. Bob Smith. That's my name.
Craig Shoemaker.
And thanks for getting my Shoemaker pronunciation correct. A lot of people don't. They go, "Oh, we're here with Craig Shoemaker, my favorite comedian."
Wow,
It's
I don't
Shoemaker.
know. How do
you make shoes, you don't mock shoes unless they're Crocs. You can mock.
I've
I
seen
know you
some
have
shoes.
none.
I would absolutely mock.
The holes are so your self-esteem can slip out. That's the secret to Crocs. I have 5 pair because I don't even care anymore. You're lucky I'm wearing pants right now.
Wait, so is it because all your self-esteem is completely gone, or is it slowly slipping through every time you wear them?
I've slipped through so much that I'm just left with me now. Just left with organic, genuine me, and I like it like this. I don't have pretensions now.
Maybe it's the ego that's slipping through, and the healthy self-esteem.
I have an acronym for ego: evading growth opportunity. You know, we've all heard edging God out, but it's also evading growth opportunity. Every time I lead with my ego or try to look a certain way, be a certain way because I care how you feel about me and I want approval, I'm out. I'm not myself, and so I'm evading my own opportunity to go, okay, let's pause on this, have a sacred pause on this one, let's reflect, and now take the actions. So that's how I operate.
I'm going to steal that. There's a lot of things I'm stealing from you.
You're already going to take my SIFTA.
SIFTA, which, by the way, y'all, I've never talked about this, I don't think, on any of the shows, but, you know, clearly there's some interaction with me and the guests before we start rolling on, you know, filming and recording. And I always say, I really try to keep the conversation to a minimum so we have organic interaction for our show. And so Craig's here today, and we're just, you know, a natural cadence of conversation and laughter and everything. And there's all this stuff's coming up, and I gave him the hand and was like, dude, you got to stop. We got to save it for the show. He goes, SIFTA.
Yeah, save it for the air. I'm filled with acronyms today. I look like acronym king, but yeah, save it for. I've been saying this for years in radio, and I said, don't even, you know, nice to see you. I'm not being snobby. I would rather have these moments where we're in presence, when we're in mindfulness, and we're in the moment where you can have spontaneous. But if I told you anything that we talked about earlier, like I'm even debating whether to say anything from my comedy act because you saw my act the other day. So you might go, heard that before, and just there's a little wink of delay.
But at your age, are you going to
response.
Remember what it was that was in your comedy act?
You're really going to come at me with an age joke? A guy that's like 2 seconds from a ponytail. You've got to
listen. I'm actually, you know,
you cannot come after. I'm like a heavyweight boxer, right? Okay, if you want to bring it, just be prepared to.
Listen, I realize I'm overdue for a haircut, which is why I have a hard stop after this today. However,
it's almost pigtails.
It is
Heidi.
Almost pigtails, but listen, I live in Nashville, sir. So
what is that supposed to be?
I fit in with this haircut all day long.
Yeah, if you have a hat on, so if you live have a Nashville cowboy hat on, but
all right, wait.
If you're going to bring it, you're going to start with there's advantages to older men. I want the ladies to know the shaky signatures, easy to forge. There's a lot of advantages to being older. Well, look, we have some gained wisdom, right?
It sounds like that advantage isn't for you. It's for the other people.
Well, I'm all about other people, unfortunately. I'm very codependent.
There's
something I have not healed is my codependency. I'm a rescuer.
Are you?
Yeah. I saw my act the other day. This is a true story. I used to write letters to guys, celebrities that I knew were single to fix them up with my mother because my mother was so unhappy with my dad who left when I was born. And my mom was unhappy. I said, she's going to be happy because I'm going to find her a husband. So I wrote letters. I wrote a letter to Paul Lind. He was a Center Square Uncle Arthur on Bewitched. And I wrote a letter to this guy, Tim McCarver. I used to look at baseball cards. I didn't care what they hit. I looked for one thing, marital status. And to this day, I can tell you who was married. I remember their wives' names.
Wait, how old were you when you were doing this, right?
Like 6, 7 years old.
No way.
I had a scheme, a whole plot. I remember Larry Boa, the shortstop, was married to Shayna Boa. If you could look it up, I guarantee that was his wife. And Greg Luzinski. I knew all their wives' names, so I was not interested. I put them in the discard pile. But the pile I had, number one guy was Tim McCarver. And I said, Mom, you should meet this guy. He's a catcher, and I'm a pitcher. He could adopt me. He could teach me how to pitch in the backyard. And he's a World Series winner with the Cardinals. Now he's with our Phillies. She goes, he doesn't want me. I go, yes, he does. And I wrote him a letter. Dear Tim McCarver, I think I have a woman for you. Here's her picture in her belly dancing outfit. Anyway, so her other name's Scheherazade. That's a true story. And he never wrote me back. But listen, things take time in life. So many, many decades later, I'm performing and I got to know his broadcast partner, Joe Buck. And Joe Buck's a very good friend of his. And I told Joe the story, who laughed. He goes, oh my God. Next time I see Joe Buck, he hands me a ball, and it's signed by Tim McCarver, and it says, Dear son, time to grow up.
Oh, my God.
Love, Dad, a.k.a. Tim McCarver. So,
well, now, at this point...
He just passed away.
I was going to say...
Same time my real dad passed away, he passed away. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Same time, and I never met either one of them. No, I'm just kidding. I knew my father pretty well, but I never met Tim McCarver.
So I've got a call back here, though.
Yeah.
So at this point, how old was he?
Tim McCarver, when he got this,
when he did the baseball for you,
like 80.
Okay, so when his handwriting was real shaky, so it was easily forgeable.
It's my one piece of memorabilia that I hold on to. I hold it dear. I really do.
Yeah.
More than my father's ashes. I mean, this is something that's very important to me. I will not be scattering that ball anywhere, but I love that little trophy that I have because it's symbolic. I was a resilient kid. I mean, I was going to figure things out no matter what. And I had a lot of adversity that I had to figure out on my own because mom's always working, and left me to my own devices, which when you're a kid, those devices aren't so great,
Right.
The drugs and alcohol starting at 12. And I mean, I was kidnapped when I was 13 by a serial pedophile. I mean, because I wanted him to be, he was like a father figure and he brought himself into my life.
We can't breeze through that. Okay. So single mom. I want to go back. Yeah. I want to go back just a little bit. Yeah. So,
doing the best she can with no money, no child support.
What happened with your parents?
They just split when I was born. It was something I said. Wow. So I learned how to adapt right out of the gate. I mean, I had to. We were poor. I thought, this is a true story. I thought the word evict meant move. I thought they were the same word. Really? Mom, here's the eviction truck, because she'd cry and read a letter. We're going to move again, and we moved place to place to place. So I still keep a box packed, even though I've made it very far in my life. I still keep a box, you know what I mean? Because I think they're coming for me.
Yeah.
So it's like no matter how much money I make, there's always that little something. I was a delinquent. I got arrested often. 13, I got arrested. Is a true story. The cop says, how would you like to end up by going to these guys in the poster? I'm going, at least he's wanted. I still have abandonment issues. Like when a waiter leaves my table, I'm going, where are you going? I'm getting your food. Sure you are. He's not coming back. They're all the same. So these things do stay with me, but I get an opportunity to grow and heal. Mm-hmm. Every one of them, you have an opportunity, no matter what happens to you, even the kidnapping. I am so healed from that I get to share that even here and help other people to know you should be in forgiveness, for instance. Like I forgive that guy. Ben Rauscher was his name, and he took me away to 5 days in a ghetto hotel, no escape.
Well, let me ask you, how did you previously know
he
this
befriended
person?
Me as a father figure. My mother was thrilled
Okay.
Because here's a guy, I was annoying her, blaming her for everything. I was a
How did he come
kid. I
into
hadn't
your
hit
life?
puberty yet. I met him after a football game. Like the Philadelphia Eagles were everything to me. Like I said, the Phillies.
Yeah.
Sports was everything to me as this kid that just wants to fit in and figure things out. Everybody else was having catches with their father. That's why Field of Dreams kills me when he has a catch with his dad. I bawl every time. My son actually one time he queued it up for Father's Day. And he's like this. He was really little, and he puts it on. I was like, "Stop! Put it off!" And he was looking back at me, laughing. But that hits my heart. That film when he says, "Dad, you want to have a catch?" Because that's a real wound. Other kids in the neighborhood. I used to call one guy. I used to call him Carl. I used to call him my dad. He'd go, "My dad, my dad, my dad." He'd always say, "My dad." I thought, is his name my dad? I was like so annoyed by it because everybody had that, and this guy. He took me into the locker room of the Philadelphia Eagles after a game. And I was like, "Come on." And he was introducing me to players. This one guy, his hand engulfed my whole hand. It was like, and I was talking to them. I still remember every word of what was said. It was a lot of impact. And then he befriended me and he would take me to games and I'd sit in a 700 level way up there with guys with, flasks of whiskey and I'm taking shots of his whiskey and I'm 13 years old. I hadn't even had puberty yet, but I was up with the woo people, woo! The vein neck, I'm wasted. Those were my people, and I'm bonding. I'm a man now. This guy showed me how to be a man, so I thought, and little did I know what I was in for when he took me to Washington D.C. and he proposed. I thought I was bragging to my friends. How
did that start out? Like, so he took you to. So your mom trusted him. She's taking you off her hands.
He's so happy.
Yada
yes.
yada.
She's so happy. I'm going to games. I'm going to bars. And she did not mind at all. I'm like his little buddy.
Right.
And, he's training me to be a man. Here's a flask and all this kind of stuff. And I believed it, of course. And there's no reason to not, to be suspicious. And now I'm aware, by the way, and I get to help other people. Be aware of certain people, how they get into your life, because it's usually based on a need. Like there was the Parks and Rec director in my neighborhood. Turns out he was a serial pedophile also.
Oh, you said Parks and Rec. I know Parks and Rec.
I'm on the show.
You're
Parks
on the show,
Rec.
so we're not talking about
not
the show.
that. No,
okay.
Our rec director, Joe Axford, this guy, and I was jealous of the kids. He would get them jobs on trash trucks for a lot of money, and it turns out he was diddling. He was a serial pedophile. So the people needed him. They didn't even want to see it. They tried to name a park after the guy.
Wow.
Because they get in. That's their entrance in, the guy with Sandusky and Penn State, he was a, football coach, and they get in there and they act like they're macho and they give you that father figure. So I'm on to it now. So now I get to share with other people kind of the tips on awareness.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be able to do that now, because to be present enough to share my experiences, which can prevent these things from happening for people. I get to be of service to others this way.
Sure.
Based on, some pain I had to go through.
So I know this is very personal. So
And by the way, everything's okay.
Okay.
Everything.
So what he takes you,
he presented it to my mother. He goes, "I'm going to take him to Washington, D.C. It was the last game of the season against the Philadelphia Eagles." I was so excited. Never been out of town before. Yeah. My mom couldn't afford it. And here we were, and we took a train, and I thought we were going to be a limousine. I told all my friends, "Look at this." He gave me shorts allegedly of a player. Look at I have this guy. I was like bragging, and I got there, and I went, "Oh boy, oh boy!" And you go into denial. I thought there'd be a guy with white gloves greeting our limo. Oh no, we walked through a blizzard to a ghetto where a guy was behind bars with skeleton keys to open the rooms. And I went, oh boy. And the first room we got to, it was 2 beds, and he slammed the door. "I want 1 bed. Went back, 2 beds again. He's now screaming at the guy. And I think the guy was trying to save me.
Yeah.
And in retrospect. And so it was a very, very long weekend. And there's no way out. There's no phones.
Right.
There was just no way out. It was urine on the floors. And it was like, by the way, I'm a comedian, folks. This is my best stuff. But, it was just, I guess meant to be, because all of these things led to beautiful epiphanies. And I get to live my life with significance. It's profound, with divinity. And none of that would have happened if I didn't have some sort of bottoms. There's a lot of bottoms there, drugs and alcohol and, how I acted out. I definitely.
Well, what happened after that?
Went back to my mom.
Did you tell her?
Here's what happened. And my mom's we're still healing on this one. And it's beautiful. Our healing is beautiful. I have a lot of great stories about my mom. But I resented her of the way she responded. She says, don't you ever tell anyone. And there's an old saying, you're only as sick as your secrets. And I became sick. I couldn't express this to anyone. It was so filled with shame because people act like our society does not protect kids. Right. They act like you're the reason. So that's where I went. I'm not going to tell anybody about this. And then I became, a heavy drinker, theft. I would destroy rich people's property. That was my big thing. I would take a car that cost me $200 and slam it into Porsches and expensive cars. I hated rich people. I resented them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I had a real hatred and rage that was internalized. And luckily, comedy came along. Yeah. Believe it or not. And laughter, I have an organization now called Laughter Heals. Laughter saved my life. One of the things that saved my life, yeah.
I love that. How did comedy enter your life? And how did you know that you had
It's another seemingly tragic story, but just trust me on this, everyone. There's no tragedy.
Would you be a comedian if tragedy wasn't part of the...
No, there's not even a chance I would be because it came out of need.
Yeah.
And I remember distinctly the first time that I really got it. So we moved again into a semi-wealthy neighborhood. And that's actually seemingly a good thing, but not when you don't have money. And I remember being shamed all the time. I was in the bathroom and someone called. I knew how to sew. This is fourth grade. I'm sewing with a thimble. Something and so a rich guy saw me, goes back in the classroom. Oh, they're all laughing because I only had one pair of pants and they tore. So I was beaten up. I was really tiny. I'm big now, but I was tiny and new neighborhood and renting a place. And there was no divorcees, not many divorce situations at fourth grade. You know? And one day I told a story it was about my mom beating me. I broke a vase and she just went into a blind rage and beat me. And I started telling the story like I'm telling you now. And the whole place is listening. Oh, wow, that was cool. Look at this one. This one over here who hates me is listening to me. And I'm telling the story in front of the teacher, in front of the class. And then the story started to get funny because I was saying things that were inappropriate. You don't talk about your family, about her beating me. So then I started embellishing. I go, oh, yeah, it was like a piñata. Candy was flying out of my mouth. Ah! It was magical. It was absolutely magical. By telling the truth, suddenly there's this shift that was really profound. And right there, it happened. I went, oh, ooh, this is like an addict getting a first hit on a crack pipe. Woo. And I kept going and going. And then the next day, she says, he's not going to do this in my class. Apparently, she slept on it and thought she was disrespected. And in front of the class, she takes my arms and bounds them behind my back with blue yarn, like hogtied. And she says, you're going to be in the closet. You don't get off this box in a supply closet the entire day with my hands behind my back. Mrs. Stout was her name. And she goes, don't get off this box. You're going to think about what you did. And that's when higher source, God, light, whatever you want to call it, some source within spoke to me. It was the opposite. I said, oh no, this is beautiful. This is magical. You're going to do this for the rest of your life. You're going to be honest and transparent and thorough. Yeah. And you know what? I've been doing comedy ever since. I started professionally at 17 in high school. And it's been unbelievable helping other people lift them up out of whatever condition they're in. Even if it's just for the moment, they're out of those conditions. Right. You literally can't be depressed or angry while you're laughing. Watch this. You do it with me. I'm depressed. Say it, I'm depressed. I'm depressed. And you're not in that moment. You're not. Right. You're not angry. You're nothing but just feeling this ethereal sense that's inside of us. So that was it for me when she did that, Mrs. Stout. So I can thank her for doing that. Because would I be doing this if she didn't do that? If that voice did not come about because of that pain? I don't know. All I know is these are my experiences, and it's led to just this beautiful life of making people laugh and helping people transform. And, it's just...
I have a question for you. about that time in your life because you found how laughter can be a medicine.
Yeah.
But it's but a reprieve in many ways, right? Like, so if we don't deal with the root causes and conditions, right? You're right that we laugh about it and what have you.
Which in turn, by the way, just so you understand, people don't really get this. It's a higher source. It's a higher level of vibration and frequency that you are bringing in, which you can call God. You can call it higher source, light, whatever it is. Love, light, and levity. It is true love when you're in that laughter space. There is nothing else there.
Right.
So, people don't really give it the credit that it deserves because people are actually trying to get rid of the laugh makers. They're trying to cancel the comedians. I mean, because we tell the truth and they're afraid of the truth. Unfortunately, it's true. That's true.
It causes a shift, an energy shift, a shift in how we process trauma and all the things.
Yeah.
However, what I think what I was getting at is I know you had a lot that you've kind of already spoken to, some we haven't opened up yet, of what was going on and yet to happen as far as alcohol, drug abuse, other unhealthy coping. So what happens in between laughter for you at this point? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, life did not just continue to be some laugh riot. Very far from it.
How often do we see?
I attempted suicide when I came back, and she said, "Don't ever talk." By the way, recently my mom and I talked about it. She goes, "I am so ashamed," and she was ashamed that she didn't do anything about him. And I said, "I'm going to be honest with you, Mom. The part that I'm not saying to be ashamed of this, but the part that I was most hurt by was telling me not to talk about it." And she heard me, and we just have this beautiful relationship now. And by the way, based in laughter, I'll tell you that story sometime too, of how I got into radical acceptance of my mother. I mean, we didn't speak for 6 years, and now I can't wait to talk to her.
Yeah,
it's really miraculous. It's like it's a miracle. But I mean, I learned how to just see things in a different way. That's not of the norm. We are not normal. The drinking and using is not normal. And so, like, when this happened, I was really just alone. I'm alone now. So I thought suicide's the only answer. And I took these neckties and I tied them together in knots and I tossed them over my bedroom closet door, and I tied them to the doorknob, and then I put a little noose that I learned in Boy Scouts, and I put it around my neck, and I hung there, gagging, thinking, just similar to the comedy. Can someone pay attention to me here? Is really what it was about. And there was no attention until my mom comes into the room. This is so typical of my mother. She goes, I'm there. She goes, "What are you doing? Those are new neckties."
Oh, are you serious?
They were. She was concerned if I was ruining the new neckties that she bought me and paid her money with. And she goes, "Get up." And by the way, I could get up. I was on my knees and I just stood up. So I wasn't really, really killing myself. But it was really about, can she pay attention to me? Can she hear these cries of a child that just needs somebody to comfort or guide? And the answer is no. The answer is no. That's not. I have a spiritual guide that talks to me. He talked about this the other day. He said, "My father leaving was a wonderful opportunity to know the Father inside of me." And he goes, "That's what it's all about. Your father didn't leave. He never left. It's always there." So that connection to that ethereal, beautiful power, potency that's within it's amazing.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting it's just the return to that, and all the other stuff is extraneous. It doesn't really have any meaning. That's the only meaning. So I have this guy in my life all the time. He's amazing to talk to. It's like upper level. His brother is a big star of The Secret. Remember that movie, The Secret? Oh,
no.
Really?
Well, maybe.
It was huge back about 20 years ago. It's the law of attraction.
Basically. So this isn't about me, but just I'll tell you real quick. I was raised. I might as well have been raised in a cult. I hope my parents aren't watching. We have a great relationship now, but no, I was raised super conservative, sheltered. I didn't see anything in the outside world basically until I was almost out of high school.
How long ago was that?
Well, I'm
how long ago did you
get
you basically got your independence? How long ago?
Well, not great at time math, but I mean, I probably started getting exposed to things in the world around 15
years ago.
16.
Okay, great.
No. Oh, yeah.
Oh, 15 years old.
Yeah. So
you started to expand
in the
your
early
awareness.
early 2000s. Yeah.
Okay. Now you're expanding your awareness. Well, that's what happens with people is I coach a lot. I coach a lot of personal coaching. And the first thing I say to them is, you're here to be deprogrammed from the programming that you received.
Yeah.
We're all born love, light, levity. We're born that way. We're born laughing. And then they go, oh, no, you don't. You're going to get in our lines. You're going to comply with our rules. And that's society, teachers, parents, peers. It's all about, here's your grade for remembering Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492, Nina Pinta Santa Maria. I can still recite all of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua. I can recite it all.
Yeah.
Regurgitate.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. We're in regurgitating society, but we're not getting to know ourselves. And that's where cult-like behavior comes in, because you are programmed now. So what I try to do is deprogram people with love, service, gratitude, ethereal sense of self, and of course, laughter. And that's a way, but I don't have a cult because, well, maybe I do. My dad became a cult leader.
All right.
He had his own cult.
We got to talk about this.
Yeah.
So your dad left when you were a kid. When did you find out?
I knew him all along.
You knew him the whole time?
Oh, absolutely. He would come back with he called himself an entrepreneur, which is a French word for scam artist. So he had one scam after the next.
Wait a second. Is that really the French definition of?
No, I made it up.
Okay.
That was a joke, but it was the case with him.
Okay.
Because entrepreneur, these are all completely true stories. Can I curse on here?
Absolutely.
Okay. I've refrained so far. Anyway, because the punchline to this has a curse in it, not a bad one. This is a true story. He called my mom up. I'm a little kid. Hey, Barbara. I do a very good impression. Hey, Barbara, you want your child support check? Invite your big-breasted friends over, because I have a new business, bras. He was in the bra meets Amway, like a multi-level marketing bra business.
Okay.
So there shows up in my living room, all my aunts, Aunt Barbara, Aunt Fran, they're in the living room in bras. And I hadn't seen him in a year or two. I'm looking in there, and there he is smoking his pipe. There you go. Turn around, Dottie. Show how it lifts and separates. This is the 3-clasp model for the full-figured woman. Come on, don't be shy. It's just you women and me. I'm thinking this guy's a genius. Like, look at him go.
Oh, my God.
He has an entire living room filled with women only wearing bras. And he's telling them the circle around him. And this guy had some sort of special magic, I guess you could call it, or whatever it is, some charisma. This is how these cult leaders work.
Right.
And they know how to work it, which I got the tips on how to work it. I would never want to be a cult leader, but I certainly could if I wanted to, because there are certain, again, just like pedophiles, there are certain techniques that they have, vulnerabilities that they prey upon.
Sure.
And now, ironically, again, my wife, we had a beautiful marriage, she left for a cult leader. I wish I was making this up. This is like a crazy life. And I go, sometimes I go, come on, God, really? Another test? Really? So people dictate if you comply with them, then you get your grades, your pats in the back, your medals, right? And I'm about peel away all of that and be the genuine energy flow that you are.
Yeah.
So that's what my program is all about, deprogramming, reconditioning yourself to new conditions that are really about yourself. You're about you, not about what someone tells you. That's why I don't watch the news, because they're telling me what to fear. No, I'm not going to watch that. They're choosing something that the fear. And then they get you upset, and then the drug company sponsors the news that handles the anxiety that they just gave you. Whoa, there's my answer.
Yeah.
It's all drug companies or insurance companies. That's what they do. It's a cycle.
It is.
I'm out. Take myself out, put myself in this mindful position where I get to make my own decisions. Yeah. I don't go left. I don't go right. I'm out of that. I'm in a centered space. I get to make these decisions that are really like purposeful. You know what I mean? They're purposeful and they're guided.
Yeah.
They're guided by this love, light, and levity. And I mean, look for the laughs. I'm going to find my laughs, find people that make me laugh. I'm not going to take everything. I take laughter seriously instead of, oh, that's a serious topic. I already talked. How many things have I talked about today?
Oh, I know, right?
That people are afraid that, most of them tuned out already.
Well, I think it's important that, you quite clearly have processed the things that you need, your trauma and what have you, and being able to be at that place to where you can laugh about it is so,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask the question. It's probably on everybody's mind though. What describe your dad's cult?
Oh, so he then went from that to, I visited him one summer. I only spent one summer with him, and that was when he was converting cesspools to sewers. So he would put me under these. He had a contract for this Village Green, like townhouses, and I was underneath of these homes all summer long. I was hoping to go to the beach down the shore, the Jersey Shore. Mm-hmm. He sawed off a shovel. He says, "Get under there." And I'm like a mole trying to dig a tunnel to connect the cesspool to the sewers. As he sat on a chair and waited for me, I pop up like a mole. "Where have you been?" I'm like Shawshank Redemption.
In 1966, Andy Dufresne left Shawshank Prison. All they found was a set of muddy prison clothes, a bar of soap, and an old rock hammer that had worn down to the nub. Craig Shoemaker.
That was my life. I was talking about a shit job. That was my curse. So
oh, my God.
I was literally converting cesspools to sewers. Next thing you know, same summer, I caught a shark. It really was a bonding. That was my catch with my dad.
Yeah.
Literally a catch. It was amazing. And we ate it. You see the brains going. You go, this is good meat. He's dipping it in butter. Everything's good meat if you dip it in butter. He goes, "Let's start a shark business." He goes, "Recreation's the number one industry in the world." That's what he said. Number one industry in the world. He goes, and he's reading a magazine. He goes, "Look at you know what landing crafts are?" I go, "No, Dad, I don't know what they are." They're in Normandy. They carry the people up and the soldiers, and they let them out on the beach. The doors open. They go on the beach. I found them. I get a deal on them. Like a couple bucks a piece. You repair the bullet holes. Good as new. We'll make shark boats. Next thing you know, he's got me in an old dilapidated truck. He's got 17 gears. We break down every 5 seconds. I was trying to sleep. I'm in gravel on the ground. This is my bonding with my father. We got to Norfolk shipyard at 3:00 in the morning. He puts me in a car with this big guy with jowls snoring. I had to force my way down his window and sleep under the car in the gravel with welders going all night long in this shipyard so he can get these things. I got a deal on these landing crafts. He got 6 of them and bought an old beach. He needed a machete. It looked like the invasion of Tarawa or Normandy. There it was. And he's going, "There's a shark. Your sister can run the bait shop. Recreation is the number one industry in the world." So that and the bra business went bust. No pun intended. The shark business, no good, right? So now the final one, not really. He's done a lot of things. My sister visits him, and he really did want to bond with us in his ways. My sister loves riding horses. Next thing you know, he buys 75 mules, and he has mules, Pocono Adventures on mules in the mountains. He goes to the mountains, changes his name from Albert to AJ, because the IRS won't figure out that.
Now, did
AJ
the mules have bullet holes that had to be repaired?
The mules needed repair, but not bullets.
Okay.
He got them from the Amish. He stuck me with the Amish in these auctions. He would say, "Go get me a deal on that mule," and all the tack that they had and all this. So I'm dealing with these Amish. They're, "Oh, you're highway robbery over there. Come on now, but take a 0 off of there." And I'm like, this is my bonding again. You can never bond with my dad without working for him, and that's how he set up the women too. He ended up with 14 women that gave their lives to him, and he called it his harem. And one of the funniest things of my life was I go back to the Poconos. I became a pretty big comedian, and there's my name in lights. At Caesars in the Poconos, they didn't have gambling yet, but they were counting on it. But they have these heart-shaped pools in the rooms. It's like the blue-collar honeymoon capital of the Northeast. It's really tacky. Big 10-foot-high champagne glass jacuzzi in your room with constellations on the ceilings.
Oh, my gosh.
Really bad. So the guys give me a tour. He thinks I'm this Hollywood star. He's like, "Oh, come over here. You got racquetball over here." And he's got this Shamokin coal miner accent. "Oh, have you got your quoits? Hey, Craig, you know what quoits are? You got to play quoits over here in Pennsylvania." He thinks I'm a Hollywood guy. He has no idea. And then he looks up and he goes, "Oh, my gosh, there's AJ Shoemaker and his harem. What's that nut doing here? I got to go, that's my dad. This guy goes, oh, I didn't figure out the Shoemaker. And he walks up, cowboy hat. All of a sudden, he's a cowboy now with mules, gigantic mules, but not like little ponies or donkeys. These are 18 hands high. He's got some of his harems with him. He walks up and he takes my cheese tray. They give you a complimentary cheese. He goes, take this to the girls at the ranch. Judy loves Gouda. So he takes my complimentary cheese. I hadn't seen him in years. Takes my tray. And the next day, that night I performed. He's signing people up for mule rides. Tell him who the real love master is. And he's signing them up. And the next day he's pounding on my door. Get out here. They're waiting for you. He signed us up so we could tell father and son stories on mule rides through the mountains with the harem. He's going to tell them the story about the crabs, So we told it over and over again. So that was my bonding with my dad. So
wow,
yeah, and this is all these years. That was one business he did hold on to for a very long time. But the harem started to go less and less, and he ended up with just one, and he passed away last year. I ended up handling his affairs and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like kind of full circle. I guess it's a semicircle because he didn't do anything for me. My mother said he'll come back in a time of need. He did. He needed me to co-sign loans.
She just didn't say what need. Whose need?
I had to co-sign a lot of loans, and they all came after me when I was handling his stuff. But
oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, he was a narcissist, and I learned how to deal with narcissists. I still draw them in. They're very difficult, narcissists. Yeah.
That's the truth.
Here's one of the secrets to narcissists that I found. They'll never ask you your opinion. They'll never say the words, what do you think? Like I've collaborated with narcissists, I'm in show business. They'll never say the words, what do you think? That's a little tip for you to know. So I still deal with them though. There's so many out there.
What do you think about that? I was trying to let you know I'm not a narcissist.
I know you were. I was trying to come up with a non-narcissistic response.
This podcast is brought to you by Promises Behavioral Health. If you or a loved one are struggling with trauma, addiction, or mental health, we are ready to answer your questions and help you take that next step. Call our admissions center at 888-648-4098 or visit us online at www.promises.com. Our team is ready and waiting to answer the call for help.
Because I would be labeled a narcissist because I'm in show business.
Right.
So that narcissist that I know that attack me, they use that. Well, of course, he's the narcissist.
Right.
So then they have support thinking they're coming after the guy who's the cocky, arrogant narcissist, know-it-all. But really, I know that it's not true. I have vetted myself purely and thoroughly, and I don't believe that is the case of narcissism. I really do love giving back, and I do love collaboration, all those things, and I make peace too. They're fighters.
Yeah.
And I'll fight too at first. I'm from Philadelphia. I live in California.
Of course,
I've got a little fight in me.
you.
Yeah. I'm stuck between namaste and kiss my ass. That's kind of where I live in that zone right there. Like I try to be very kind and considerate and empathic and empathetic. And there's this other part of me that goes, you better suck my... It's like, that's how I live. I live in that space. And I had an example of it the other day. I've got these meta glasses. They're really cool. I can talk through them, right? They're like Tony Stark. They're really cool.
Are you talking like
They're
the
sunglasses, but I can talk through them and take videos, and
Oh,
they're unbelievable.
very cool.
So I don't have to have ear pods that fall out. Apparently they don't do well with my ears. So I talked to this guy, and after I drop my daughter at school, I take this Zen walk around with this rescue dog who gets better every day. So I'm working with her, and she's feeling my energy. It's really a lot of metaphorical stuff. So I'm going in this circle and talking to him, and it's around and around this park. And I'm going clockwise, and these women start coming counterclockwise. And first of all, I'm starting to judge them. They should be going clockwise, so you get into judgment, right? And then they hog the whole path. So here I'm talking about higher vibration and living in a place. So I'm going to go, hey, idiots, move over. That's what I want to say to myself, right? And that's how fast we can go off of the path.
Oh, that's a truth.
But here's the difference that he really acknowledged with me. I laughed about it and called myself on it. So then it came back around again. And this time I laughed and I smiled, and one smiled back at me. And the next time around, all three of them smiled at me. And next time around, they moved over. And that kind of is like symbolic for me on my methodology on how it works. It starts with awareness. Then it comes to laughing at your awareness and self-deprecation. And then you can move into a harmony.
Yeah.
And instead of like, I could have attacked them and said how rude they are. Hey, clueless, move over. I was ready to go Philly. Hey, do you know there's other people here? You know, all that kind of attitude, which we all have. We all have like entitlement. I got to that. I got to this self-reflective inventory that I get to make to do myself instead of other people doing my inventory for me. I get to do it myself. And I have an opportunity every single time to grow and look at my role in this. Look at my role in this resentment that I have, this temporary resentment against these people. And by the way, it's all projection when you're angry with people. It's all stuff that you're not dealing with yourself. So here's something I'm not dealing with myself is my impatience, my intolerance, and so forth. But now I have an opportunity to go to patience and tolerance and grace.
Yeah.
And love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so great. I'm gonna flip it back.
Is this interview going any way the way you wanted it to?
You know what? I don't have a direct. I learned a long time ago. It's better not to have a direction.
I agree.
And let it go the way that it's.
Any expectations after seeing my comedy act on what you?
Oh, they were really low.
Oh, I'm lower than worm sperm.
I'm just
you
kidding.
You got to start from that scratch.
I knew we were gonna have a good time.
You
today.
did?
I absolutely knew.
This is a good time talking about all my. We talk about kidnapping, pedophilia.
Well, listen,
anger management.
I know that the end story, the end product is that we've got a guy sitting here who's healed a whole bunch from a lot of hurt and a lot of pain in life, which is the goal. Life is gonna life, and things are gonna happen. And I love that I get to facilitate this platform where I get to talk to people like you who have been through such serious things and share their solution about what has helped heal them, and then also when and where we can laugh about it.
That's one of the solutions,
right?
That's what I found. And people go, oh, you can't laugh at that. Oh yeah, you can laugh at anything. You sure really can, because it's about your transformation. It's about your turnaround. My podcast is about the turnaround. It's called Still Standing Up with Craig Shoemaker, and I have people on with all sorts of turnarounds. I love it. Even I've had a pastor on recently. I have an amazing story with him, by the way. And even his turnaround in his life where he was suicidal. And all of these stories are shared so people can have faith and hope that they can get through whatever they're going through.
Right.
If one person that's watching this, that's still here, if one person's watching this and they go, oh, wow, I was about to put neckties around my neck.
Yeah.
Talked about suicide too today. All these beautiful light topics. And if you would have told me when I got into stand-up that this is what I'd be talking about today, I've been doing it since high school, I would have told you you're out of your mind. Just give me my rewards, give me my awards, give me my packed houses and standing ovations, give me my adulation, give me my attention that I seek. That's what I thought it was about. And it was about that. Mm-hmm. But somebody else, something else had another plan for me. Yeah. And here I am. I've done all these television shows, and here I am.
Here you are on Music Row in Nashville, Tennessee.
Music Row in Nashville, Tennessee, without a chair that swivels. You get the swiveled chair. That pisses me off.
Okay,
I don't know how this happened, but I'm feeling very much not appreciated.
You're calling out my insecurity here. This chair is not. I'm not supposed to swivel in it. So when I swivel, it's showing you that I'm
not centered or not balanced.
I'm not right. So I tried very hard not to swivel in this chair.
I get where you're coming from. From basically the other day, I did a TED Talk. You know what TED Talks are?
Oh yeah.
So and they give you this. A lot of people don't. And I said that for other people. Let's not be selfish, okay? Just because you know everything in the world, they don't, okay? So I'm clarifying that. I should have directed it right to the camera. I'm asking you, do you know what a TED Talk is? Okay, look it up. Anyway, it's they give you this, I couldn't believe it. It's this giant stage, but they said, stay within this circle. This red circle is like carpet. I'm going, wait a minute. And I realized.
How big was the circle?
Very tiny. Like really way smaller than I expected.
Give me an estimate.
I'd say 6 feet in diameter.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Not a lot. You can't walk.
If you're standing and talking, that's I know that's uncomfortable.
But that was my intervention to not walk off my feelings, not take something somewhere else where I'm not present or aware, and it made me powerful because I said, I'm standing my ground here. And the talk went really well. And I hadn't rehearsed it because I don't have a place to rehearse a talk. I do, you saw my show, it's 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And even when I get hired for speaking, it's a long talk, but they shorten. Oh no, you got a timer. So I had to plant myself there with strength. And I'm a guy, literally my walk is bouncy. I have a bouncy walk. I always get the same music. That's taking away my mindfulness, my presence, my sense of self. You're out of flow that way. And here I went, ooh, okay. They forced me to it. And sometimes when you're forced to do something, the results are even better. That's not something you expect. So that's what happened. It was 2 weeks ago. It's really cool.
I love that. I love that. And it's very interesting to me.
So that goes with you with your swivel chair. Every time you swivel, just know, somebody lock this down for the next show, okay? Lock it. Either that or sit here. I want to swivel, for God's sake.
We're going to have some.
I want to swivel.
No, because I would, if you were swiveling on the show, I would be
freaking out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like somebody whose leg goes. I used to have a therapist that would go like this, and he'd go, what is your leg trying to tell you? It's not telling me anything. He was right. If you do this, it's your body's telling you something.
It's true.
It's true. So it's telling me, let's fold it up. Let's fold it up and show people I had shorts on, by the way. They changed my mind on that one. I came in here in shorts and a T-shirt, and I got the look. I could tell from the look.
I was going to joke about this later, but I guess I could joke about it now. Yeah. Yeah. It was going to be a great punchline, but yeah, the comedian that comes on the show thinking that even though we're filming, it's only going to be from the waist up.
Yes, that's what I thought. And I prefer the waist down. Because I am the love master. So I prefer, as long as you have a wide angle. Yeah, baby.
Oh, my God.
So.
Okay, wait. I gotta reel it back in. I want to go back to, we're about 20 years old.
We're going back to when I'm 20 now.
Sure.
Okay, sure. Why not 20?
Well, because I want to talk
about. That actually was a big time in my life.
Yeah, and you're getting momentum. And
that's the year I died. Yeah, I died and hovered over my body, yeah.
Okay, so
you're in Jamaica. I was in Jamaica.
You're doing drugs.
Yeah, drugs.
Alcohol. That
day I did Red Stripe beer, meth, coke, pot, gigantic joints in Jamaica. Your roach clip is a half an ounce. I mean, because Jamaica's so easy and accessible. I had ganja cake, mushroom tea.
Wait, what is
this? All in one night. Ganja is pot.
Well, right.
It's really heavy.
So cake made with
ganja.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was ganja cake, Miss Jenny's. It's called Miss Jenny's in the Grill. And they made mushroom tea. That was the one that, and I'm standing there at this concert acting I'm Mr. Reggae, and I'm 20 years old and I was with these two women and stuff. And I passed out up here. I went out. They said, turn your phone off. I know told you that. Put it on vibrate. What's that?
No, it wasn't. It was our special guest who shall not be named.
It was our guest who we actually told not to have his phone.
Yeah, we're going to leave this one in the episode so he can feel shame for it.
We got to shame him. I even said to him, keep your phone off. So I'm standing there at this concert, and I went out right here. And I have a giant head. It's like an 8. Like, there's no hats for me. And my head went.
We're filming this. We can see how giant your head is.
It's sideways. It's worse. Okay, if you want to check that out. I don't know if you can tell the depth of this head. And it went ba-boom on cement. They said it bounced like it sounded like a bowling ball going down on the cement. And I died. God. And I hovered over my body. I'm in the light. I still remember what they were saying and who was saying it. But the one words I do remember, I'm white and Jamaica's primarily black. And this guy, he says, I'm hovering. I'm going, please come back. I remember that. And they're trying to revive me and everything. And the guy goes, Pasty man did too much mushroom tea. Too much mushroom tea. He knew. And I came back that night, obviously, unless this is an illusion. And I will never forget the fight of light and dark. The fight of light and dark that was going on, like a devil and an angel, like Animal House. They had this, where literally like this dark demonic force was saying, you're with me now. I have you. Like, you're going to be on this island for the rest of your life. I thought I was going to be a burnout. I was picturing myself walking up to people with a trench coat, giving them inane information. The Roman numeral 21 looks like the inside of an electric generator. I thought I was going to be one of those people, right? And the other side was going, no, come with me. Come with me. I am your light. I am your angel. And they fought all night long. Room was spinning. And my friend came to the island the next day. They were all talking about the pasty-mon who was in this room with this room just spinning. It was one of the longest nights of my life. Reminded me of the nights I spent in Washington, D.C. It's a very similar feeling of these talks that I have with this God that I don't even know is a God. I don't even know what it is, what to label it, because I didn't understand it. And then it still wasn't enough, though. I didn't stop.
Sure.
I didn't stop. It took me a few more years. I did get clean and sober in my 20s and haven't looked back.
Well, let's talk about what led up to your getting clean and sober. What did that look like? It
wasn't a bottom. All these bottoms, and it wasn't a big one. It was
Really?
It was based on, of course, wanting to be with a hot woman, an actress. I moved to Los Angeles, and I'm in an acting class. Some of these beautiful blondes. I started dating one of them, and we went to a party. And I always thought an alcoholic was a bulbous red exploded corpuscle in their nose, Mr. Plunkett, who had a brown bag, drank out of a brown bag, and smoked cigarettes. That's an alcoholic. Or my Uncle Steve, for that matter. He used to say to me, I'd rather be a good liver than have one. Neff. He used to call me Neff.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I never heard that one before.
Well, that's his. That's Uncle Steve. And Steve was a big-time drunk. He would sleep in my fort. I had a fort when I was a kid, which was like a shrine to beer. I'd started at a very early age. I had a little gang called the Dungeon Gang. I had my own gang, and we used to shrine to beer. We had beer cans from all over the world, like a pyramid. We would practically bow to that. And I would find him sleeping in my fort. And as a matter of fact, he ruined my football jacket. He has vomit on it. I still have the jacket to this day. God. Springfield undefeated football. And defeated was a little vomity. But anyway, so Uncle Steve was a drunk. Mr. Plunkett was a drunk. I didn't think I was. I mean, I had people that would say that I was, but I ignored them, of course, because I'm not as bad as someone else. I'm not Uncle Steve. I'm Mr. Plunkett. That keeps me from getting sober. So we're at this party, and I said, hey, girls, get you a beer? It was a keg party. They go, no, we don't drink. I've never heard that. Beautiful when we don't drink. I said, what are you on, solids? What is that supposed to mean?
Right.
We don't drink. I said, no, we're alcoholics, and we're sober. And something clicked. One of those moments. I went, huh? And then I drank their beers for them.
Of course. Like a good alcoholic.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And I never got the clues before. Like in ninth grade, I was really drunk at this girl's babysitting job, trying to hit on her. That's the only way. I was real tiny. No girls were interested in me. This is the way, is get my courage. I'm drinking out of the liquor cabinet. We would fill up these jars, filled with every kind of booze, vermouth, vodka, rum. It didn't matter. Just this concoction. I called it weasel piss.
Oh my
and I would cover my nose so I didn't taste it. All I cared about was the effects. It was horrible.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. It made me one with them. It made me feel like more courage and like I was one of. And I was so drunk, they didn't know what to do with me. And they jammed coffee down my throat, really bad coffee. And I was going, whoa, whoa. And this tells you that I'm an alcoholic. I quit coffee. I've never had a cup since, but I kept drinking. I've never had a cup of coffee. And it's that reason. The smell, you would think the smell of alcohol and vomiting, that would do it. No. Oh, coffee is atrocious. So I'm off coffee since 13 years old. Never
my God.
1 cup, no coffee, ice cream, because that's a trigger. That's a gateway drug. If I ever did coffee, ice cream. So they said that, and then they took me to a meeting, and leading the meeting, I can't say his name, was a famous guy.
Okay.
I'm going, a famous guy can be alcoholic too? And he kind of looks like me. And I'm going, and then there's someone else famous over here. And I'm going, this is in Hollywood. And it's been on ever since. I mean, I didn't stay sober the first year. I went out a few times. I don't recommend this to everybody. I went back to Philadelphia. I said, you're all alcoholics. we're all alcoholics. Follow me. I found the promised land. I got like 2 weeks sober, whatever it was. And I don't recommend the way I did it at first, but then I finally, that was it for me. I woke up I was visiting Philadelphia again, and I woke up on her futon next to something I was hoping was female and a human, because it was this ball of nudity.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, oh my God! I said, this is it, and that was it, and never ever look back. I don't even have the desire.
Yeah.
Because now I've seen what it does to people. I can't stand the smell of alcohol breath. And here's the irony with this one. I'm now dating again because my wife joined a cult and divorced. Not what I wanted, but you know what? That was because...
So wait, did you want to join the cult? Or
No, it's a female cult. It's about men and get your sovereign freedom, mamas. Get out of your golden cage. This is what this woman leads these women who are like, they're vulnerable. They're middle-aged. And I don't just want to be a mom. I don't want this guy just, I get it. I get the need, but it wasn't the way to go. And we also got out of our God consciousness, praying together. That's going to keep you together. The big G is going to keep all relationships together, and that includes laughter. So kind of like let that slide, and so I'm responsible for a lot of this. But being conscious is just so important, and that became the relationship became unconscious. We didn't have a conscious contact, and that's where that went. That's where anything where it goes south. That's the bottom line. Is you're out of your. I have a book coming out called "Get Out of Line and Into Alignment." Get out of these lines that people have you in. These mob mentalities, tribalism, get in your own alignment. It's going to instruct and guide you.
I love that.
Into beauty.
I think we all live in such, we're forced to choose which echo chamber we reside in.
I use that word all the time. Echo chamber.
I had to look it up when I first heard it. Because
really? They just repeat out of it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's
I just got an argument on Facebook the other day. I went on a person's podcast. I'll say who it is. Laura Trump's podcast, right? I was invited. I had no idea. I don't even know about her, to tell you the truth. I knew her last name is Trump, and I found out she's the daughter-in-law, but I don't know anything because I'm in this centered space. I don't watch the news. I don't get involved in the tribalism, the attacks. I see it. One of the reasons I was a big lefty, one of the reasons I left the left is there's no inclusion. It's intolerant. Freedom of speech is violated. I mean, it's unbelievable. I had to leave the left because of it. Now, I'm not going to go the other way, and that's the assumption that's made, especially me doing her show. They attacked me. I'm going, this is the reason I left. You're showing me. And the more you give attention to that negative attention, these attacks, mindless, rage-filled attacks from the echo chamber.
Yeah. He's
done this, this, and this, because it's all handed to you, all the crimes that he's committed. And I'm not endorsing him by being on the show. I went in as me.
Yeah.
The people that did support me, they go, you do you. And I agree. You do you. And many more things will manifest in a positive way if you do you and not get in line with these people, the mob mentality from both sides, if you will. I mean, I don't have a side. I'm a big circle. And it's an inclusive circle with everyone, all humanity. We're all one in this circle.
Well, and I love what you talked about in finding your letting everything just strip away to where you're finding your we talk about our authentic self all the time is you peel away like the layers of an onion to get to that centerpiece, and whatever everybody's telling you either have to choose or what you are from the beginning. We come into the world with everything we need and everything we are, but then we get programmed.
And conditioned until you deprogram.
Yes.
By working some sort of a program is the only way to deprogram is to have some sort of a program. That's my coaching. That's why I take them through a step-by-step program, just like the 12 steps. But mine's more focused on, there's a thing in the big book, if anybody's ever read the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, we are not I think it's page 132, we are not a glum lot. And what that says is people aren't going to be, it's attraction rather than promotion. If you're attractive, it's because you're happy and filled with bliss and you're laughing. That's attractive to someone, not some, no, I'm an alcoholic, I'm going to live the day, I'm mad at people and stuff like that. No, nobody wants that.
Right.
They want to see, oh, wow, this is a group of people sharing their experience, strength, and hope in a fun way. And that's going to attract people. And that's what I'm about, is really letting people know you can make it through anything. I made it through death, divorce. All my shows this year are benefit shows, and All proceeds go to my ex-wife. Just thought I'd let you know that you're
I was like, wow.
my lawyer sucks. I got half my jokes, and all I got was the setups. She got the punchlines. So a priest and a rabbi walk into a bar.
Uh-huh.
You want the rest? Call my ex-wife.
Oh my God. That was pretty funny.
Well, that's how I have to look at things. They're going to just be morose and look, oh my God, this is terrible. And by the way, and it really is difficult. Me and the kids, it was unexpected.
Yeah.
This trip over to this woman who influenced her. She spent hundreds of hours listening to this woman. And by the way, took a lot of money. And I don't want to call it, because I sound sexist, my hard-earned money, but the money literally was funneled through me, from my work, which was shared, with the community, which is us. But it got, this woman got to her, and it's really, off the air, I'll tell you the woman's name. But people who look it up, they go, oh my God, how'd you let her be with her for a minute? Like a minute. This woman is absolutely so self-obsessed and so narcissistic. Everything's about her and sovereign freedom. Come on, mamas. I teach mamas how to make money and wealth. You don't have a pot to piss in. It's lies. And this is a word that I heard recently, and this is a warning to people out there. There's a lot of the namaste and the little heart thing, all these little things, these gestures. They're gestures and they're theories. So many things are about theories. If you have a good moral compass and a good higher power, that's where everything should exist. And it does for me. Anyway, that's my experience. And these theories of, I'm holding space. You're not holding anything. It's a lie. So they're wellness grifters. They prey upon people's need to get well and to have transformation, positive transformation. I was into transformational leaders, by the way. I was nominated and got in. Bunch of phonies. They're about selling their books. They come up with a good book title. I'm going, what are we doing for people? By the way, drunks galore. I go to these events and just drink, look at me. Oh, let's play a stupid game. I'm going, hey, we should be helping people, shouldn't we? I was like alone going, we're leaders. Where's the leading? And that's another thing I love about 12 Steps. We do not cover, there are no leaders. We are but trusted servants. So when I became a servant to this cause of literal freedom, not sovereign freedom, come on, mamas, like they're in it. She told my wife that she was in a golden cage. And I came home one day, I'm in a golden cage. Oh, I'd like to be in one for like a day. Put me in a golden cage. I love if somebody,
right.
I've struggled my entire life, making money. And it started with, resilience just had to be. There was no money.
Right.
So I had to learn, I was a pool boy, and I was also included being a lifeguard. I didn't even have I forged a license. Thank God it was mostly old women who would go up to their boobs and wet their boobs. That was the whole thing. It was all these old ladies with beehive hairdos. They didn't want to get wet. Thank God I didn't have to save anybody. I started a little hot dog vending thing. Craig, I want a hot dog, Craig. Well done. I looked at your toaster oven. It's a little dirty, Craig. And I started this whole thing, and I'll tip you at the end of the year. They'd shake it. They'd shake hands with Reba. These little folded up $5 bills, and she'd fan it to me. I made money so many different ways, and there was nothing that would stop me. I learned how to do screens. I learned how to do radiators, air conditioning, handyman.
Wow.
I had everything that I could do to make a living. And it was really, really hard work with just payoffs of certain things. And then I just dedicated myself to family because I wanted to give my kids everything that I longed for.
Yeah.
And even that doesn't pay off, because even that's not organic, is when I'm learning that lesson. Because that's about me. That's not their journey. They have a present father. They have a guy who coached all their little league teams. And you know what? Ended up, a couple of them resent me, because I'm telling them, I've got your better ideas for your life because of my life. And that's where I have to learn how to let things go, turn things over, show up, suit up and show up, do it with grace, do it with good attitude. I was thinking to myself, I had a quote this morning. I want to be quoted. I don't want to quote people. I very rarely quote. I quoted, we're not a glum lot, but it's rare when I study quotes. I want my own. I thought of one this morning with all these people going back and forth, right and left and everything. I don't want your matitude. I want to hear your gratitude. What are you grateful for? That's one of the steps in my little program. And I will tell you, the results of letting go and surrendering is the greatest victory. And that's my story. I don't have any other story. I don't have advice for you. It comes across as that sometimes, but these are the things that worked for me. I was silent with my mother for 6 years. She didn't speak to me because I had all these reasons how she was a bad mother, right? Yeah. And you look at people that justify and collude with you. You're right. I could tell you stuff. That's a bad mother. Even that she didn't help me when I was kidnapped. But no, it wasn't that way. What happened was one day, as I get choked up when I think about this, I was cleaning out my garage, and I was married at the time, little kids. My mom pretty much ignored this family, and she was, for some reason, focused on this other ex-wife who was really cruel. Like the stuff she accused me of, it cost me like $1 million to hold on to 50% of custody of the kids because I wanted them to have a father.
Wow.
And I fought. And I don't want to fight, but I had to fight. I was forced to fight. These accusations. And I'm not saying anything about women, but a lot of women use men's abuse of the past to say, oh, people are going to believe me when I say that he's the abuser. They're going to believe. There's an assumption. There's an assumption that the man is guilty. That's why nobody questions the Me Too. When those tags started coming out, I'm going, whoa, 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 we're not vetting. There's no court process here. That's not fair. To just put a label on someone because you decided you had a bad date and he's abusive. Maybe you were abusive in return. Maybe you were physically abusive, which she was, ironically. And I was just dealing with all of this stuff. And my mom was part of it. She took the side of the woman who was attacking me, my ex-wife, and with 2 of the kids with her. I was in the garage, and she had contacted my wife at the time. We had a beautiful marriage, by the way, until the cult came along. And she says, I want to see the kids, these kids, these beautiful, oh my God, they're awesome, Chloe and Jackson. And I was sarcastic. I said, yeah, sure. She's going to visit the other one first. And, we're just like a throw in. I was sarcastic. And then I used to say, she never says I love you. And I had all these things that she was not a mom. And I listened to these CDs from my old radio show. And she had a segment on there, a call-in segment called What's Buggin' Barb? And everything bugs her. And she was hilarious. And I'm like, come on in, everybody, come on in. I brought everybody in, my wife at the time and my 2 kids. Listen to Nana. And she's making them laugh. And she made everybody in the studio laugh. She's quirky and funny and just has all these habits that are just, I still can't tell if she knows she's funny or not. Doesn't matter. Really funny.
Yeah.
And that's the moment I had just this unbelievable shot of clarity. Be in acceptance, radical acceptance and gratitude. This is the woman that guided you into comedy. This is the woman that is so funny. And look at what it's done for you, Craig. I've had a career since I'm 17 years old. An amazing career, top of the list of Comedian of the Year American Comedy Awards. And I don't say that to brag, but this is
a big deal.
It was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was the Oscars of comedy, and I won. I'm one of the top comedians in the world, according to IMDb, whatever. That's little Craig Shoemaker went there.
Yeah.
And it's because of her. And I went into this whole new space of radical acceptance. I totally accept it. We're different in so many ways, and I just accept it, and I laugh at it now. So she challenged me. They're all pressing the buttons because they installed them. I got out of that frame of mind. I got out of a frame of mind of she's pressing these buttons on purpose. She's doing, no. I let it all go. I surrendered for the greatest victory, and I have the greatest victory with my mom.
That's beautiful.
I get to talk to her all the time, and I'm telling you, we have so much fun. She came out to visit me recently, and I might have talked about this in my act, but she makes fun of herself. She says she's walking down this hill. She's not wearing her hearing aid. She's too vain. She's very vain, and she's not wearing hearing aid. Guy comes up behind her. He goes, steep hill. She goes, hi, Steve Hill, Barbara Shoemaker. Nice to meet you. And there's other stories about her, but she'll admit it, and she's just so funny. And then she comes to visit, and now she's bonding with my kids, and she loves them. She can't wait to be with them. Where before I'm like, how come she's not with them? How come she's not? Wrong gift. You don't even know who they are. You're sending the wrong gift. This is it's a shallow gift and all this kind of stuff. All this stuff. And it all turns down to first accept myself and forgive myself for those resentments, for those feelings, for those ill feelings, for any ill will that I brought. I get to forgive and then just grace appears. And we just have this, like, I'll call her right after this. And I do something with her. I have fun. I tease the hell out of her. Like, I'll have people listen. Like, if I put her on the phone right now, I can make her say something. And it's really funny. To me, it's funny. Like, she'll go, how are you? Because she's very tentative. She's very scared still. You know, she doesn't really have her base. And I go, fantastic. That's what I tell people. I say, you change the energy if you say a word like that.
Yeah.
If somebody goes, most people go, fair to middling, I'm above ground. All I say, anybody I coach, I go, no, you come up with your word. Magnificent. Watch everybody shift on the spot. So I do it with her, and every single time I could just call it in. She goes, oh, that's what I like to hear. I'm giving her what she wants to hear. She wants to know that her son's okay.
Yeah.
Who's fantastic. And then she'll go, your sister, she's miserable. My God, very negative. I don't get that from her. And so she goes off and this whole thing. And now we're off and running. Yeah. So any conversation, and by the way, she does say some things that bother me. I go, whoop, pause, sacred pause. That's what I recommend to people. Breathe. Spiritus is a Latin word for breath. And just allow genuine energy flow. And the genuine energy flow of who we truly are. By the way, that's why I had a great marriage for a while. She saw me for who I truly am, not what she dictates me to be, and that made for a good marriage. And when we stop that, we start to have agendas. You're not doing it right. And now when I go on dates and they start right away, I go, no, that's it. I'm done. I'm done right away. That's a red flag for me. You need to stand on this side of the street. You need to do this. You need to send flowers. No, I don't. No, if that's not my flow, and if you have a problem with that, then you're not for me. We're not in connection because that's not who I truly am. I don't want to buy flowers. I'll buy live plants so you can plant them again. Now, that's something they go, that's ridiculous. I go, no, to me, it's not. I would like to have flowers that bloom constantly that I plant.
Me too.
Right? Instead of these things that die right away, because it's a custom that was been all these things, a Hallmark. These cards are not even written authentically. It's not written by, you like get a card. If I was a man writing these cards, be stuff like, I liked you a lot more when you were nicer to me. Happy anniversary. That would be the truth. You need to tell a lot more truth.
I'm glad, Craig, that you're not in the card writing business.
She asked me to be in that. I'll write the truth.
Oh my God!
You need to laugh at the truth.
This has been so great. I've really enjoyed this episode and our conversation today. I want to ask you, my final question is, one in all sincerity, not that the others weren't, but
by the way, the entire episode, folks, was all satire. There was none of that. But now we're going to conclude with the only sincere question and answer that has happened in this entire episode.
So
I'm ready.
For that person that's still listening, the one person or watching and has connected.
Can you let
with
me be self-deprecating on that? I didn't really want to think that one person's watching. By the way, will you please follow me to tell me that this wasn't a complete waste of time?
Absolutely. All your stuff's going to be right below.
Official Craig Shoemaker.
Yes.
All right. I need young followers. My people are dying off.
It'll all be listed below so people can easily follow you. But the reason why I say the one person, again, in all sincerity, is because I think for someone suffering, it's easy to think when tuning into something like this that they're probably the only one, watching. And if they are, that it's all worth it.
Hopefully they got some modicum of
absolutely
of shift and change.
Yes. So the question I like to ask is, what last final word of encouragement would you like to leave? Now, this is where you may or may not be quoted. This could go on your tombstone. So.
Oh no, geez, I need to come up with one of my quotes. Oh geez. Well, I do have laughter. Laughter is the best medicine. Open up and say ha ha. If you can really put that in your prescription, is to find laughter. Kids laugh 300 times a day and adults laugh like 20.
Ooh.
So I say, how they have a Fitbit? How about a laugh bit? You count your laughs.
I love that.
And it leads to an amazing life. One of my best friends, he wrote Cool Runnings, Little Giants. We really bonded through laughter. Michael Goldberg, and we bonded through family. He couldn't believe he had a broken family. I did. Now we have kids, and we're bonding and stuff. He did my first movie, The Love Master. He directed it. Farrah Fawcett's in it. A whole bunch. Anyway, we're filming in Arizona, And I told him, because his wife was ovulating and they wanted to have a kid and they couldn't have a kid. I said, listen, laughter works. All these people give me credit. They said they conceived the child after my comedy show. Every guy goes home and tries to be the love master. Sounds like Kermit. You know, they sound like Kermit the Frog. I'm the love master. When it sounds like this, baby. Anyway, so it loosens things up. You're not trying to have a child. See, when you're trying to do anything, you're tense and you're not free flow. So all these people, then one kid was conceived in the parking lot of the Brea Improv. They showed me a picture and the laughing kid. So I said,
it was a picture of the kid, not
the kid. No, not having sex in the Brea Improv parking lot. No, they refrained from that. So I told Golds, I said, I'll go get sandwiches and you do the love master. And it worked. Baby Kayla was born 9 months later. But then a year and a half after that, he got brain cancer. They said, you have 3 months to live. And that was I call it a ha-ha moment. So laughter the best medicine. They always say it, but there's not people going to a comedy club for their pharmacy. And what is this about? I really did a deep dive. I worked in a cancer facility. He showed up for all of it. I have a thing called guided laughitation. If you follow me or join my groups, I take people through laughitation, which is easier than meditation, by the way. Meditation, I'm too confused. I have too many things going on. I have ADD. So anyway, he showed up for all of it. He gave him 3 months to live. He showed up for all the prescriptions, comedy clubs. I said, I had a restraining order. He saw so many of my shows.
Yeah.
He lived 15 years past that prognosis.
Wow.
And it's because if you have a joy in your life, you have a will to live that way, more laughter, you have a will to live. And that is so much of it's about mindset. Healing is about mindset. You start with that mindset. And that's what I would leave people is shift your mindset into something profound, large, abundant. If you're with the universe, that's as big as you can get. And not in this limited way, it's just, myopia does not lead to utopia. If you live in a myopic world, just this little world of other people feeding your echo chamber, your whole narrative is based on anger, you're not going to be happy. And it will be hopeless. Because people right now, if you're on left or right, they think it's hopeless. So one wins, I'm hopeless, I'm moving. Oh, really? That's your option? How about you just become better? Yeah. You become first. You become better and be an example. And then see what unfolds. See what the big G has in mind.
And with that, I'm going to add like this. So the perfect transition. I love that. Why don't you become better? Making that choice, because that's all we have. Yeah. That's the only thing we have control over.
Tell me about it. Look at my Facebook from last week, the attacks. And they were just mindless. They would not listen to me. I said, you're not paying attention to what I wrote. You haven't even listened to the podcast, by the way, because I went on there and I was strong in my convictions. I didn't go on there and root for anybody. But I brought, and by the way, Laura Trump, to her credit, and I had no idea what she was about, really allowed me the space to process and to bring my thing, and was pretty much in alignment with it. She was in alignment with it. Let's laugh some more. And so we've all seen the attacks. What good has that done? Your attacks led to him being president. So if you're anti-Trump, the idea is not to go after him because you're giving him the attention that he wants.
Yeah.
So if you be in your own presence and then see what unfolds, be a good person, then see what unfolds. Be attractive, not promoting your agenda.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's attraction, not promotion. Be attractive and then watch what happens then. Because you're not now. When they're attacking on Facebook and they got in this battle, I was asking, please stop. This is not addressing this is not a political statement that I made. I made a statement about being present and, looking to the other side. How are you supposed to unify if you're just going to keep talking about them and listing things, evidence building? You'll never be happy. If you're going to cherry pick evidence against anybody, you're not going to be happy. Do your own inventory. Mm-hmm. Work on yourself. Work on what your role is in the resentment. And every single time, I have had the most freedom. I'll give you one more story.
Okay.
I go to Maui with my kids. I have a 10 and 14-year-old. I have them half the time, and it's my time with them, and my ex-wife happens to be there visiting her sister in Maui. And on the way over, I got a voice inside of me that spoke to me just like in fourth grade in that closet, and it said, make amends to her. Write it out. I borrowed a pen from the guy behind me. I was in first class. My kids were in coach. That's the way I roll. And what unfolded naturally, organically, in flow, was a river of admission, What's my role in this? Not one zinger did I say to her. Not one, I did this because, and here's a woman that left our family for this other woman who guided her in the golden cage and all that. I had plenty to be resentful about, but no, not in this moment, because that's not what Big G's about. It's power that's way greater than my thoughts. 22 pages, handwritten, came out of me with this absolute mea culpa, admissions, because I didn't even figure it out until I had that presence in that moment. I'm out of the fight. I'm on a plane. I can't fight. There's no internet. And I said to her, I texted her, I said, there'll be a note waiting for you at the front. It was a beautiful resort with the kids. If you're into it, we'll be at the pool. She wasn't supposed to see them until it was my time. Mm-hmm. And she texted me at the pool. She said, I'm a page into it, and I'm already crying my eyes out. She read it. It took her an hour, and we spent the entire vacation together.
Wow.
In beauty and essence of light and laughter and joy. And my one son said, he goes, I've never been happier than this. He got to see us, healing and healed, and in that process of recovery. And that's part of my recovery, is like, look at my part, make amends, apologize when I can, be in forgiveness, be in grace. And that's the way I prefer to live my life. And a week later, I'm like, you're a little shithead. And, how dare you do that to me in my ego.
What a gift for that moment and for your kids.
For the moment. That's exactly right. And I like more moments of that. That's why I have this process with this spiritual guide who helps me. Is another pastor that helps me. And, you got to have reflections sometimes. You got to have people that hold up mirrors for you. And that's the thing, is a lot of our society does not have a mirror. Look into that mirror and be okay. Forgive what you see. And then be guided by a true essence of who you are. And that will make you self-responsible and accountable. The accountability in this country, my last word is, please be accountable. Stop with the blame. All your finger pointing, you're actually just pointing it back to yourself. So look at that first. Look at where you are first and your conditioning. Where are you? Are you at peace? Are you at harmony? If you're attacking, then you're not.
Well, and on that note, I will end how I always do. That relates so well in saying that it's never too late to start loving yourself.
Yep.
And we're all only ever one decision away from a completely different life.
And forgiveness is loving yourself.
Amen, brother.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
This podcast is brought to you by Promises Behavioral Health. If you or a loved one are struggling with trauma, addiction, or mental health, we are ready to answer your questions and help you take that next step. Call our admission center at 888-648-4098 or visit us online at www.promises.com. Our team is ready and waiting to answer the call for help.